Good evening, listener. Before we begin, let me clear up some tired misconceptions of my kind. You see, most of what you think about vampires? Lies. Absolute slander, spread by vampires to make their lives easier. Can't enter without an invitation? Ha, that was made up so you'd let your guard down. I can absolutely walk right through the front door, back door, doggy door, or chimney if I'm feeling randy. Garlic? Delicious. I used to make a chef-quality garlic mashed potatoes. The whole vampires are repelled by garlic thing was just a joke that got out of hand. Eating a lot of garlic just makes your breath and farts a little more exotic. Now that is something that is sometimes slightly repelling. Mirrors? Oh, we have reflections. We just avoid them because centuries of eternal life comes with serious under-eye baggage. Running water? Please, I take showers. I enjoy a good swim. You think I avoid rivers? What am I, a cat? Now, the staking thing. Yeah, that's one's unfortunately true, but don't let it get to your head. Some idiot let the rumor spread centuries ago, and now we cannot get it to disappear. Seriously, we've tried everything. Public denials, counter rumors, even hiring a PR team. But no, one over-enthusiastic vampire slayer, and suddenly everyone's walking around with sharpened furniture. It's exhausting. Thankfully, the only thing that still hasn't gotten around is a sock tied around the doorknob of any door. You think that is just kids doing naughty things to each other? No, it is us repellent. Totally real. A tie isn't good enough. Not made up at all. Need to protect yourself from a vampire from coming into your home? Foot coverings tied around your doorknob. Gets us every time. Anyway, let's start the stories. And if you feel a sudden chill in the room, well, I'm sure it's nothing. Probably.
Prologue. A woman exploded through a thick door, her success surprising even her. The contradictions of her recent scenes were severe and hard for her muddled mind to register. She escaped from a dungeon of concrete and blood which in her mind was where she was surely going to lose her life. She hit the door with her shoulders multiple times. The exertion dried the moisture in her mouth as though it fueled her strength alone. She lost count of the slams she endured to free herself. The air was so much fresher up here it was invigorating. The absurd change of scene in which she found herself smelled of lemon cleaner, compared to everything else she just left down below, the boundary of her cage not far away. The floor in front of the door was so slippery that she lost her footing as soon as she found it and she hit her head against a nearby wall. She was surprised that she barely felt a thing against her thick skull. Not long ago, she would have thought that the minor pain of a bruise on her forehead was only a worry that her bangs wouldn't hide it. The thought made her giggle at the absurdity of that now. The stunt caused her to bite her tongue, the coppery taste of her blood flowing into her mouth. Everyone's tasted their blood before, but for some reason, it was more sensational now. She didn't want it all over her face, so she tilted her head back to let it fall down the back of her throat. The taste of her blood lightly lining her mouth tasted more of something salty than of something taboo. A modern world was around her that she believed she wasn't worthy of seeing again. She looked back and forth down the hall of an immaculately clean house. How long had it been since she even opened that door? 20 seconds, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. The pain in her shoulders was nothing compared to the refreshing feeling of being free. The seconds it would take to stop for a drink in the kitchen close by meant the difference between freedom or being caught. Wondering if she was truly free, she turned to see a front door of a regular suburban home and walked towards it, fixed in her sights and only yards away. She hesitated in rushing toward it, the fear of looking through the small square shape of glass at her height and seeing another person about to enter, would end her. Hesitating for a couple of seconds, she glanced back at the thick door, wondering how such a place could be hiding in a normal house. Since her mind was elsewhere, she hit her hip against a table along a wall. The table screeched along the hardwood, the new markings out of place on the robustly waxed floor. Bumping it caused her to stumble to the floor in front of it. Using the table to prop herself back to her feet, her mind was so jumbled that she nearly passed her wallet and phone sitting on it. That jolt to her hip woke her up. Walking out of the front door now would be considered suicidal. Instead of taking the fearful steps towards the front door, she looked back towards the kitchen. Grabbing her personal items, her feet flew across the hardwood, nearly slipping again, and in seconds she was in a modern kitchen decked out with the finest of stainless steel appliances. Black and white tile lined the floor, bright white colored cabinets were all over, and a door was against another wall near a carpeted living room. Her head looked sharply from side to side, expecting monsters to jump at her from any corner. She walked slowly, her head snapping around every couple of seconds. The couch that was so inviting would trap her, the recliner that would swallow her if she sat down, and if the stove beeped in the kitchen behind her, she would jump out of her skin. A back door was against a wall between the kitchen and living room. Slowly she walked towards it. Turning the doorknob, it wouldn't budge. Was it locked? Oh, right. A headache pressed again against her skull, trying to remember the mundane. She unlocked it from the inside, opening it as quietly as she dared. Her heart stopped in her chest as she was sure she heard the front door open. She slowly opens the back door, willing there to be no hinge screech or crack of the floorboard calling out her escape. The door did not betray her as she walked through it and closed it again slowly and quietly. She crawled under any window she comes close to on the way around the house, not daring to look inside in the fear of seeing another. She heard nothing within the house, nor any doors open or close. She ran as quickly as her legs could carry her. She willed herself not to breathe in the cool night air until she was a block away, in the fear her deep breath would give her away. The outside air flows through the hair on her head like she was flying. She must have escaped. This isn't something you'd imagine. The cool night air, the few people walking by, casually walking their dogs. The dogs gave her a wide berth, as did the people, but there were interactions and smiles of real people. Unable to go home, she dreamed of places to go and be safe. Her car was at work, locked up with her keys inside the donut shop. That was also a dangerous place to go back to. She also didn't want to get friends in trouble in case she was followed in some way. She pressed the power to turn on her cell phone, but the screen wouldn't flash to turn on. It had been a while since a charge. She knows a local dive bar she sometimes went to, after work, where no one knows her. She'd take that chance. She was surprised that she was able to run the whole way there. The recognition from the bartender was comforting as she sat down. She started with a glass of water. Her tongue didn't seem to hurt anymore from her biting it. She switched to beer to get something in her stomach, but nothing filled it or quenched her thirst. It was getting late and she was getting tired. Some guy helped her to his car, offering to take her home, but she declined and kept walking. She wandered a while longer downtown, getting lost in the crowds. It was after midnight. The busiest crosswalk came up with a dozen people walking one way and the other than one tall man standing still at the other end of the street. She feels as though he was looking only at her. When everyone crossed, he didn't take a step, he just stood there. People from the other side passed her and she stopped nearly in the middle, realizing the man still stood on the other side. She turned back towards the street that she just passed and kept walking. She could swear that she heard a large person's boots step on the sidewalk behind her. She walked until she heard no other patrons of the night, other than the boots behind her that followed her for blocks. She dare not turn around. She walked and turned left a few times to walk the perimeter of a building. She lost them, not hearing the boots behind her for the last block. Where would she be safe? It had been enough time. She could go to a friend's place, but without her phone, she doesn't even know where she is, or remember their address. Without her phone, she wanders around longer on the streets, continuing to empty.